If the camera is slanted, I apologize. Anyway, welcome back to Mac Movie Review, that subset of the channel Mac Music Review, that little playlist on Mac Music Review, and you go down there where I talk about movies and TV shows and similar content. In this epic episode, I am very excited to talk about my 10 favorite films of 2022. And before I do, I would like to preface it by saying that 2022 was a really incredible year for movies, and I have a few honorable mentions. The first of which that I would like to shout out is the new Spielberg movie, The Fabelmans. Any other year, The Fabelmans might have made it onto a top 10 list, but this year was just so jam-packed with masterpieces or near masterpieces that I couldn't really fit The Fabelmans in my top 10. It's still a great movie, don't get me wrong. I also saw two documentaries this year that really knocked it out of the park, and those being We Met in Virtual Reality, an extremely touching documentary that is set entirely in the world of virtual reality, filmed with a virtual reality camera in the game, and it is just beautiful and human, and I loved it. And then, of course, the Kanye West documentary is pretty incredible. That third episode is kind of haunting, and very relevant today, more than it was even when it was released. The other two things I want to shout out are two animated movies, being two Netflix animated movies, The House and Pinocchio. The House is an anthology movie that's kind of like an evil, dark, twisted version of Fantastic Mr. Fox. You got the furry animals, the furry anthropomorphic animals, telling this very weird story that doesn't give you a lot of answers, and I love it so much. I watched it like twice. I was gonna say a few times. I watched it twice, and I have my own theories about it. Like it's a movie. If you really are like an analytical thinker and you like to hyperanalyze movies, then you'll have a good time with The House. And then Pinocchio is just a beautifully animated stop motion dark retelling of the classic Pinocchio story with a lot of its own unique details. And it's very good. Without any further ado, let's hop into the top 10. My number 10 is the movie Belle. It is directed by the same guy who made Wolf Children and Mirai and Summer Wars and The Boy and the Beast and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Point is, Hosoda, I think is the last name of the director. He has a big portfolio, a big filmography of anime films. He's already very well established in the industry. But this movie, Belle, it's made me cry. This movie makes me cry. It's very good. It has my favorite scene of any movie released this year. Even though it's number 10 on this list, it has my favorite individual scene. There's this moment, I don't want to spoil what the moment is. The girl is singing a song. It's peak cinema, masterpiece. The movie is flawed. I think the movie is definitely flawed, but it is also a very good movie. Yeah, my number 9 is All Quiet on the Western Front. Frankly, one of the best war movies I've ever seen, and for this movie to be number 9 on this list when it could be number 1 some other year is me saying that 2022 is one of the best years for movies. I'm calling it. I think everything from Belle onward, Belle maybe not necessarily masterpiece level. Everything after Belle, 9 through 1 on this list, are all masterpiece level films. They're all could be considered among my favorites of all time and the greatest of all time. And with no exception at number 9, All Quiet on the Western Front is a haunting war movie. It's powerful. It's cinema. It has an amazing score, beautiful, beautiful cinematography. Visually, probably the most beautiful looking war movie I've ever seen. But it's all to offset a really, really dark story. And a story that's not necessarily about characters. A story that's more about the more broad impacts of war and the implications of war and how it ravages people. And it's very good. Hopefully the tone lightens a bit with The Banshees of Inisherin, a movie about friendship and abruptly ending a friendship. And why did you abruptly end a friendship? What's the specific reasons? You're kind of boring. I just don't like being around you. I want to make an impact on the world. It's got some pretty broad themes. This is a movie that's going to hit some people very, very hard. I personally just loved the vibes of the movie. I absolutely love the location. It's set in like the late 1800s or the early 1900s in an island, on an island, and it's just gorgeous. Once again, just a gorgeous looking movie, and with really great acting from Colin Firth and Brendan Gleeson, and like it's a Martin McDonagh. Like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, it was in the cards for me to love this movie, and I love this movie. This is probably too low for a lot of people watching this video. Number 7, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a movie that I fully intended on giving like a 4 stars out of 5 rating before I even watched it. I saw the trailer, I saw everything, and I'm like, you know what, that looks like a great movie. It looks so overhyped. Like the hype for this movie was so overwhelming and so massive that I knew I was going to have to go into this movie being one of those guys that goes, it's great, it's not a masterpiece. Guys, I was wrong. The last act of this movie proved me wrong. That last act is one of the busiest last acts of any movie ever. The movie has like 7 different endings and just keeps going, and the weirder it got, the more I loved it. And I love one of the characters. And it's just, they threw everything at the wall, including the kitchen sink, and the Daniel brothers, I think is what they go by, the Daniels. And it's a lot better than Swiss Army Man. I feel like saying this again. In a different year, Top Gun Maverick might have been my film of the year. If this year was not so stacked with incredible movies, then this could be my film of the year. Could be, because it's unbelievable. It blew me away. This movie had the longest theater run like ever. Like, it was crazy how long this was in theaters because people just kept seeing it, and people saw it multiple times. I know people have seen this movie 3 or 4 times in the movie theater, and I don't even blame them because the movie theater experience was so ecstatic. I saw this many, many months after it was released. After the summer was long gone, and I saw this movie like in this, in the fall time at the mall, and like people were like, I mean, it was crazy. It was but not just the hype, and it's easy to, it can be difficult. I said it's easy. It can be difficult to disassociate a movie from the hype because this movie has so much hype surrounding it. But I think it honestly is not overrated. I think it is fittingly an action movie masterpiece. When I saw it, I said it was the most beautiful action movie I've ever seen, and then I saw another movie which comes later on the list. So stay tuned. Yes, yep. That's what I said right after I saw this one. I said, yep. I apologize for that. Nope is a banger. Nope is a really good movie, and like weirdly emotional the second time I watched it. Weirdly, because it's not like I watched a review and this guy said like, "Oh, I cried watching Nope," and I was like, "Why?" Like I watched this the first time and I loved it, and I was like, "Why?" You watch it the second time, and you're like, "Okay, like I can see where you're coming from," but it's a beautiful, insanely ambitious movie. Like Everything Everywhere is ambitious. This movie almost feels bigger in scope. This movie's completely wild, an absolutely insane twist that cracked me up the first time I watched it. I thought this movie was hilarious the first time I watched it. Now I just think it's awesome. A type of movie you have to rewatch. You have to rewatch it. And a type of movie that proves that Jordan Peele knows what he's doing and may end up being one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I mean, he's 3 movies deep. I haven't seen Us yet, but Get Out is great, and this is even better, so he's going to keep making amazing movies, and I'm here for it. This is my indie movie pick. This is the most indie of all the movies on this list, and we have a couple others, actually, that come ahead of this that are also a kind of obscure, but We're All Going to the World's Fair is the most immersive film of 2022 that I have seen. The most immersive film of 2022. I was in it. I watched this on my laptop. I rented it for like $9, bro. Because I have a friend from school who recommended it and said it was amazing. And I was like, I have to watch it now. I have to watch it. They wrote a really, really good in-depth review of the movie on Letterboxd. And I was like, sounds cool. It was cool. It's a horror movie that is scary in kind of an unconventional way. A lot of people hate this movie because of how unconventional it is, but this movie isn't made for you. If you didn't identify with it, then it's just not for you. But this movie is for a few people. It's for a few specific people. And I'm happy to say the film wasn't extremely relatable, but I definitely saw what they were going for, and I could get in the headspace the film wants to put you in. And for that, I say congratulations. It's a great movie. Number 3, Bones and All. Full disclosure, this film and the next 2 are 10 out of 10 movies for me. I do not give out 10 out of 10 lightly. This and the following 2 films are 10 out of 10s. I knew nothing about this movie other than that it had Timothée Chalamet in it. He was on the poster, and I was like, I hit up my friend. I'm like, yo, let's turn up. Let's support our boy Timmy. He's like, let's go. And guess what? We both loved it. I loved it more, but he liked it a lot too. It's a great movie. Great movie. The vibes are there. It's 2 people hanging out and talking. And there's a little bit of cannibalism on the side. Turn up. It's a great movie. Another frickin' movie that made me cry. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I saw this movie on the theater, and I watched it at home. So I'm happy that I saw it twice, unlike my number 1, which I've only seen once. But Marcel is a great movie. The reason I gave it a perfect score is because I can honestly say that I love every single minute of this movie, which I don't know any other movies off the top of my head that I can necessarily say I loved every minute of it. But I was in the movie for every minute of it. It's very short. I love short movies. I love 90-minute movies because they can keep you engaged the entire time, and they don't waste any time. There's no filler, in my opinion. Some people say this movie drags, and they complain about the pacing of the movie and the plot. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? It's a mockumentary. It's not necessarily a mock. It's a fake documentary about a shell with shoes on, and I don't need to say anything else. Numero uno is this little film called RRR. It's not a Bollywood movie. It's easy to say it's Bollywood because it's Indian, but it's Tollywood. I don't remember specifically where the film was made or what. Anyway, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. It blew my mind. I watched this with my family. My parents watched it with me and my siblings, and we were screaming the entire time because we couldn't really process what was going on. But it's a musical. It's also an action movie. It's also a movie about the relationship between 2 men who are as close as brothers, closer than brothers. And it's amazing. It's too much. It's sensory overload. I would love to watch it again. I thought Top Gun was one of the best action movies I'd ever seen. I never could have imagined an action movie would top Top Gun in 2022, but oh my freaking goodness, RRR did the job. It's incredible. It's incredible. I hope you love this movie. I hope you've seen this movie and you love it, and please tell me in the comments how much you love this freaking movie. Because if you watch this movie and you don't freaking love it, then like, what's going on, bro? Everyone needs to watch this movie. I watched it on Netflix. You need to watch this movie. I should mention, I have not seen Tar. I have not seen Avatar: Way of Water. I haven't seen Women Talking. Those are movies that may be big on other people's year-end list when they see them, or, I just haven't seen them yet. Maybe they'd be on this one. Maybe retroactively I need to change the video and include them or something. But let me know your favorite movies of the year. Did I miss anything? Do you dislike any of the movies that are in my top 10? Do you love any of the movies in my top 10? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Have a great rest of your day.